Ride the signal through the unknown. This is the cryptic current.
The purchase of a superyacht represents one of the most significant capital expenditures a private individual can make. These vessels require not just an initial outlay of hundreds of millions, but continuous, staggering operational costs. Annual upkeep for a large yacht can easily exceed 10% of its purchase value, a financial drain comparable to running a mid-sized company. For a business owner, these funds are diverted from core operations, research, expansion, or emergency reserves. This creates a vulnerability where the business's financial health becomes tied to an asset that generates no revenue. In economic downturns or during business setbacks, the relentless costs of the yacht continue unabated. The vessel transforms from a trophy of success into a fixed, high-priority liability on the balance sheet. This scenario illustrates a classic pattern of over-leverage, where personal extravagance undermines professional stability. The entrepreneur's success culminated in the commissioning of one of the world's largest and most technically advanced private yachts. This vessel represented the peak of personal achievement, a physical manifestation of immense wealth and status. In the corporate world, such a purchase is often viewed as the ultimate reward for a founder's lifetime of work. The yacht's advanced technology included features for extreme luxury, security, and global navigation. Commissioning a yacht of this scale involves a complex, multi-year process with specialized shipyards and designers. For public company founders, personal assets like this exist in a complex space separate from corporate holdings. The launch of such a vessel typically garners significant media attention, further blending personal and public identity. This moment of peak success and public recognition often sets a new, highly visible baseline for the individual's lifestyle. The yacht's construction coincided with a period of significant financial pressure on the owner's primary business. This timing created a stark contrast between the public display of wealth and the private financial strain. Such purchases during financial hardship often raise questions about priorities and resource allocation. The vessel represented not just transportation, but a symbol of status during challenging economic times. Market headwinds typically refer to adverse economic conditions that make business operations difficult. This pattern of luxury acquisition during financial pressure appears in various high-profile cases. The delivery of such assets during business struggles can signal complex financial strategies or personal decisions. These circumstances create a narrative tension between public perception and private reality. The initial purchase price was merely the beginning of the financial commitment. Annual operational costs for a vessel of this scale are reliably in the tens of millions of dollars. These ongoing expenses include crew salaries, which for a large operation require specialized and highly paid personnel. Routine maintenance is a constant and costly necessity to ensure safety and operational integrity. Fuel consumption for such vessels is immense, representing a major and volatile line item in the budget. Docking and port fees at suitable facilities add another layer of significant, recurring financial pressure. This creates a scenario where core revenues are threatened, yet fixed. Astronomical costs relentlessly continue. The financial burden is not a one-time event, but a perpetual drain, compounding the risk. These fixed, relentless expenses drain the company's resources month after month. Third, it created a severe liquidity crisis, leaving the company unable to meet its short-term obligations. As the company's financial situation deteriorated, analysts noted that vast amounts of capital were tied up in this non-productive asset. This represented a classic case of asset illiquidity, resources that cannot be quickly converted to cash when needed. Selling such an asset quickly, especially a custom mega yacht, is notoriously difficult in any market. Custom vessels have limited buyer pools and require specialized marketing, further delaying any potential sale. This created a financial trap where maintaining the asset continued to drain resources while selling it remained impractical. The situation illustrates how luxury assets can become financial anchors rather than investments during crises. The asset became frozen at the worst possible moment. This timing was critical because financial credibility was already under intense scrutiny. For investors and lenders, the yacht's symbolism shifted dramatically. It was no longer seen as a marker of success, but as evidence of profound misjudgment. This raised serious questions about fiscal responsibility when confidence was most needed. The market's perception changed from seeing strategic assets to recognizing potential liabilities. Such situations often trigger a cascade of doubt among stakeholders. The priority of expenditures comes under immediate and harsh examination. The yacht's sinking was not the sole cause of the empire's collapse. This common misconception overlooks deeper structural vulnerabilities. The underlying business was already weakened by strategic missteps. These errors in planning and execution created critical weaknesses. Market forces further eroded the company's position before the incident. External economic pressures compounded internal failures. The yacht incident served as the final catalyst, not the primary cause. This pattern mirrors other corporate collapses, where visible events mask systemic issues. The yacht purchase was not the initial cause of the crisis, but rather a significant, self-inflicted complication that dramatically accelerated it. This decision acted as a financial multiplier, intensifying existing pressures and vulnerabilities within a short time frame. The precise private deliberations behind this major expenditure remain unknown to outsiders. Analysts often point to several common psychological drivers in such high-stakes scenarios. One potential factor was overconfidence, a cognitive bias where past success leads to underestimating risk. Another could be a cultivated sense of invincibility, often seen in individuals or entities accustomed to overcoming challenges. External pressure to maintain a certain social or professional status is also a frequent catalyst for unsustainable spending. In financial crises, such a large, ill-timed asset purchase is a classic pattern that transforms a manageable problem into an urgent one. The internal rationale behind major financial decisions often remains deliberately private. Complex corporate structures can obscure which specific loans were leveraged and what assets served as collateral. This financial opacity is a common pattern in corporate scandals, where layered ownership creates deliberate confusion. While the narrative outcome, financial collapse or scandal, becomes clear, the full internal financial picture remains hidden. Such mechanisms allow decision-makers to operate without full transparency, even as consequences unfold publicly. This creates a disconnect between private financial maneuvers and their eventual public impact. The practical lesson here is about asset liquidity and perception. For any business leader, an asset's value isn't just its price tag, but how quickly it can be converted to cash without massive loss. A superyacht is arguably one of the most illiquid luxury assets in existence. It can take months or years to sell, often at a significant discount from the original price. This highlights the danger of symbolic spending during volatility. A major luxury purchase during a stable period might be noted, but during instability, it can signal desperation or poor judgment. Such purchases are often scrutinized by investors and the public, affecting credibility. In contrast, liquid assets like cash or stocks can be adjusted quickly to navigate changing conditions. During periods of business stress, a single major purchase can be interpreted as a catastrophic signal by partners and investors. This erosion of trust often occurs faster than any negative earnings report could achieve. The situation becomes a case study in separating personal legacy from corporate survival. When a founder's personal trophy asset becomes linked to the company's fate, it creates a dangerous entanglement. This serves as a stark reminder about corporate finance realities for public companies, or those dependent on investor confidence. At this scale, there is no truly personal purchase. Every major financial decision becomes part of the corporate narrative. The mechanism works through perception. Investors interpret personal spending as signals about financial priorities and stability. This pattern appears across industries where founder visibility remains high and personal branding overlaps with corporate identity. This phenomenon occurs when an individual's identity becomes completely enmeshed with their business ventures. Personal finances, relationships, and reputation become inseparable from corporate assets and liabilities. This creates a single, fragile structure where failure in one domain guarantees collapse in the other. The mechanism is often debt, personal guarantees securing business loans, or vice versa. When scandal strikes the individual, it immediately taints the corporate brand they embody. Conversely, corporate failure drains personal wealth, leading to asset seizures and bankruptcy. This pattern is common in founder-led companies, family businesses, and personal brand empires. The collapse is total because there is no firewall left to protect one from the other's downfall.
If the signal hooked you, subscribe and catch the next ripple.